You know that sinking feeling, right? You're on the side of the road, the tow truck pulls up, and all you can think is, what is this actually going to cost me? Well, today we are going to get rid of that feeling for good. We're going to break down a towing bill piece by piece using the totally transparent pricing model from ARSM Enterprises. I promise, by the end of this, you'll know exactly what you're paying for and why.
So the company we're looking at today is ARSM Enterprises. That's ARSM. They serve the Ashcroft, BC area, and they put their pricing right out there for everyone to see. We're just going to walk through it together to see how this kind of transparency really works.
I mean, we've all been there. You're stranded, you're waiting for help, and your mind starts racing. It's not just about getting the car fixed, it's that fear of a surprise bill that just adds so much stress. Well, we're here to swap that anxiety for some real clarity. Because knowing the cost ahead of time, that's confidence.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to break down the three main things that make up any bill. First, the technician's time, or labor. Second, the distance they have to travel. And third, any special gear they might need. Then, we'll see how it all clicks together into one clear final price. So let's kick things off with time.
All right, first up, labor. This is pretty much what it sounds like. It's the cost for the technician's time on the job. Whether they're there for a few minutes or a few hours, this is how that time gets translated into a clear-cut cost on your bill.
Now check out this labor schedule. You can see the base labor fee column, and it makes perfect sense. The longer the service, the higher the base fee. But then, look over at that total labor cost column. It's a bit higher. So what's the deal with that difference? What's bridging the gap between the base fee and the final price?
Well, that mystery ingredient is the fuel surcharge, or FSC. Now, this isn't some random hidden fee. Think of it as a totally transparent adjustment. It helps account for the fact that fuel prices go up and down. This way, the base rates can stay nice and stable, but the pricing still stays fair for everybody.
So let's just run the numbers for a 1-hour job. It's super simple. You start with that base fee of $150. Then you apply the fuel surcharge. In this case, it's 34.67%, which adds $52. You add those two together, and that's it. You've got your total. See? No magic involved.
And that brings us right to our final number for that 1 hour of labor, $202. It's a clear, predictable cost that comes from a simple formula, no guesswork, and absolutely no surprises.
Okay, moving on to the second big piece of the puzzle, distance. This part of the bill covers the actual cost of getting your vehicle from point A to point B.
This chart is a great way to see how it all flows together. Just look from left to right. You start with the basic costs, the rate per kilometer, and how much fuel is used. As you move along, that fuel surcharge gets applied, and boom, out comes the total cost on the right. Now let's dig into the actual numbers.
All right, here's the distance pricing table. Now, one really important thing to notice here is that the fuel surcharge percentage isn't just a flat rate. It's progressive. See how it goes up a little bit with the longer distances? This is just a fair way to reflect the reality that a longer tow simply uses more fuel. Makes sense, right? So let's break down a 200-kilometer trip. First, you take the distance, 200 kilometers, and multiply it by the standard rate of $3.75 per kilometer. That gives you a base of $750. Then, you just apply that 16.25% surcharge for that specific distance. Add them up, and you've got your total.
And there you have it, $871.88. Again, it's a precise, verifiable number. You could literally do this math on your phone before the tow truck even gets there. That is the whole point of a transparent system.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about special equipment. You know, some jobs need a little more than just a standard hookup. A tow dolly is a perfect example. And just like everything else we've seen, using one has its own crystal clear pricing.
This is actually pretty clever. The billing for the tow dolly is broken into two simple phases. For that first hour, it's just a flat fee, nice and easy with no fuel surcharge. But if the job takes longer than an hour, it switches over to a per-minute rate with that progressive surcharge. This just fairly accounts for the extra fuel you're burning while hauling that heavy gear for a longer time.
Just take a look at this schedule. That first line is a no-brainer. Anything up to an hour is a flat $45, zero FSC. Simple. But as soon as you cross that 60-minute mark, you can see how both the base fee and the FSC start to climb step by step.
So, let's say you need the dolly for 2 hours. The math is, again, really straightforward.
The base fee for that amount of time is $90. Then the progressive FSC kicks in at 19%, which adds $17.10. Add those two together, and there's your final cost for that item.
And the total comes to $107.10. It's just another piece of the final bill, clearly spelled out. The big takeaway here is consistency. Whether we are talking about time, distance, or tools, the logic behind the pricing is always the same.
So we've looked at all the individual parts. We've seen how each one works. Now let's put it all together. Your final bill isn't some big mystery anymore. It's just the sum of these clear, predictable parts. So, to wrap it all up, just remember these three things. First, time. That's your labor cost. Second, distance. That's the transport fee. And third, tools, for any special gear you might need. And the one thing that connects them all? That fair and transparent fuel surcharge, which is applied logically to each part of the job.
And really, this quote says it all. It's all about a commitment to transparent and predictable pricing. It's a promise that you will understand exactly what you're paying for long before you ever see that final bill.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Now that you have this clear roadmap, now that you know a bill is just built from time, distance, and tools, how much more confident are you going to feel the next time you have to make that call for help? Thanks so much for tuning in.